My name is Nancy. I'm 24, and my relationship didn't end because my boyfriend cheated. It ended because he saw a photo of who I used to be. And for 1 second, I saw exactly how he would have treated me back then. That was enough. I used to think my life started at 21. Before that feels like, I was a different person. Someone I remember vaguely, like looking at an old house you used to live in. You recognize it, but you can't imagine being inside it again. I met Caleb at a literary convention. I remember what I was wearing because it mattered to me in a way it never used to. A fitted dress, dark green, something that showed confidence. At 20, I wouldn't have even walked into that room in something like that. I would have hovered near the walls, adjusting my clothes, trying to disappear. But that day, I didn't. I walked in like I belonged there. Caleb found me in the poetry section. He picked up the same book I was holding and smiled like it was a coincidence worth celebrating. "You have good taste," he said. It was simple. We started talking. About authors, about teaching, about why we both loved stories that were a little emotional. He didn't look at me like I was something surprising, but like I made sense. When he asked for my number, I didn't hesitate. And later, when he texted me, long messages, thoughtful, a little poetic in a way that felt sincere, I let myself believe something I hadn't fully believed before. That I was being seen. Just as me. What Caleb never knew, what almost no one in my life now knows, is that the version of me he met is not the version I was in college. There was a moment in college that split my life in two. Before and after. I don't talk about it. My friend from college, Jess, knows parts of it, because she was there. But even she doesn't know the whole thing. It was a prank that involved a group of girls. They were making fun of my weight and body shape. That night, I sat on the floor of my dorm room and stared at my reflection for a long time. And realized, for the first time in a way that actually stuck, how the world saw me. Everything changed after that. The next 2 years were not inspiring. They weren't the kind of transformation you post about with before and after pictures and motivational captions. They were quiet. Early mornings at the gym when I still felt like I didn't belong there. Late nights meal prepping while everyone else ordered takeout. Crying in a bathroom stall because the scale hadn't moved and I didn't know if I could keep going. Therapy sessions where I didn't talk about weight at first. I was learning how to not hate my body. I lost 100 pounds. But more than that, I rebuilt discipline and control. I changed everything. My clothes, my hair, the way I carried myself, even the people I kept around me. By the time I graduated, I wasn't recognizable. Not just physically, socially, emotionally, energetically. The world treated me differently. People listened when I spoke. They smiled more. They made space for me in conversations. I didn't have to fight to exist anymore. So I made a choice. I left that version of me behind. I didn't keep old photos. I didn't tell stories from that time. If someone asked about college, I kept it vague. The girl who was laughed at, she existed in exactly two places. Jess's camera roll, and my nightmares. And for a long time, that was enough. Because my life now was amazing. I had a career I loved. A body I worked hard for. A relationship that felt safe. I thought the past was something I had outgrown. I was wrong. Here's my story. Jess came to visit me after some time. We had dinner together, then I went in the kitchen. Jess was sitting cross-legged on the couch, telling stories from college I had carefully avoided for years. Caleb was beside her, completely engaged, asking questions, laughing in that soft, curious way he always does. He loves stories. That's part of why I fell for him. I was at the sink, scrubbing a pot. I liked the distraction of it, the way it gave me an excuse to stay half out of the conversation. I could hear them behind me. Jess laughing. Caleb asking, "Wait, what happened next?" The sound of her scrolling through her phone. Then, "Oh my God, remember this? We were so bad." Her voice had that tone meaning she found something. A memory. Caleb chuckled. Let me see. There was nothing in me that reacted. No panic. No instinct to stop her. I trusted them. That's the simplest way to say it. I dried my hands slowly. Took my time. Then I walked into the living room. Jess was holding her phone out between them. Caleb was leaning in. He looked open, interested. Then I saw the moment everything changed. It was small. So small that if I wasn't watching him, I might have missed it. His eyes narrowed slightly. His mouth shifted a little with judgment and disgust. Then he leaned in closer. Squinting slightly, like he was trying to place something. And then he said it. The one next to the humpback. He said it casually, like it wasn't a big deal. Like it was just descriptive. He didn't look up, didn't check his surroundings, didn't think. He didn't see me. The word hung in the air. Humpback. It felt heavier than it should have. Jess froze. No, she said quickly, pulling the phone back. I stepped closer. They both looked at me now. Jess looked horrified. Caleb looked normal, curious, even, still unaware. The humpback was me, I said. For a second, nothing happened. Confusion. His eyebrows pulling together, trying to process. No, wait, what? His face changed. The disgust was gone, and somehow, that made it worse. I didn't know Nancy. He started, his voice already breaking. I believed him. That was the problem. He didn't know. Because the girl in that photo, the one laughing too loudly, moving awkwardly, taking up too much space, wasn't someone he would have looked at twice. Not at a convention, not across a room, not in a life where he had options. He loved me, I knew that, but only this version of me. And now, for the first time, those two versions existed in the same room. And I saw exactly how he reacted to one of them. I felt something inside me shift. Can you leave? I said. He stared at me like he hadn't heard me right. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean. Please, I said, still calm, still flat. I need you to leave. He apologized again, and again, each one more desperate than the last. But I wasn't really hearing them. Jess was saying something too. I didn't know he would. Nancy, I'm so sorry, I just thought. It's fine, I said. Because I didn't have the energy to explain why. The door closed behind him. And for a while, I just stood there. The next morning, Caleb was waiting for me. I saw him before he saw me. I was halfway through my usual route, the one I run almost every day, the same sidewalks, the same turns, the same rhythm that usually clears my head. That morning, it didn't. My body was moving, but my mind was stuck. He was standing near the corner where I usually slow down, holding flowers and coffee. He looked wrecked, eyes red, hair unkempt, like he hadn't slept. For a second, I almost felt bad for him. Nancy, he said as I approached, stepping forward like he wasn't sure if he was allowed to be close. I'm so sorry. His voice broke on the last word. I didn't know. I would never. I stopped in front of him. You're the most beautiful girl I know, he said quickly, like he needed to get it out before I could stop him. I mean it. I always have. I nodded. Okay. That's all I said, because what else was I supposed to say? He didn't know. He was sorry. All the right pieces were there. But something underneath them wasn't. He stepped closer and pulled me into a hug. I just stood there, arms at my sides, waiting for it to end. He noticed. I could feel it in the way his grip tightened slightly, like he was trying to hold on to something that was already slipping. I'll do anything, he whispered. Just don't shut me out. I didn't respond. I wasn't trying to punish him. The days after that felt off. He kept trying, reaching for my hand when we walked together. He kissed me goodbye in the mornings. I turned my cheek without thinking. Not to reject him, just because my body moved before my mind could stop it. That's what scared me the most. It was like something inside me had quietly shifted. Then it got worse. I didn't even find out from him. It was a message, a notification I almost ignored. A group chat from another college friend. Sam had sent something. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at. It was an old photo. Blurry, taken at some party I barely remembered. I was in it, heavier, different hair, different clothes, different posture, different everything. For a second, I didn't recognize myself. And then I did. The caption read, "Would you have known?" I felt my stomach drop. Messages started coming in underneath it. Wait, that's Nancy. No way, she looks so different. I mean, Caleb couldn't have known. Yeah, that's not fair to him. I kept scrolling. I don't know why. I should have stopped, but I didn't, because I needed to see it. All of it. The way they talked about me. Like I wasn't there. Like I wasn't reading it. Like that girl in the photo was a separate person. She's being a little harsh tbh. I get why she's upset, but like, come on. Caleb said one thing. I stared at that sentence longer than I should have. One thing. That's all it was to them. I put my phone down. My hands were shaking. I didn't cry. I just felt exposed. I called Caleb. He answered immediately. Nancy. Why? I said, cutting him off, my voice quieter than I expected. Why are people sending pictures of me from college? Silence. Then, what? I could hear the confusion. Real confusion. Sam, I said. The group chat. She sent a photo. Everyone's talking about it. I just asked her for advice. I didn't know she would. Caleb said. You told her. I said. I didn't think. He said again. That was the problem. He hadn't thought. Jess hadn't thought. Sam hadn't thought. And now my past, the one I had spent years quietly forgetting, was out. I'll fix it, he said quickly. I'll call her right now. I'll make her delete it. You can't, I said. Because it was already done. You can't unsend something like that. You can't unsee it. You can't unhear the way people talk when they think it's harmless. I'm so sorry, he said again. His voice broke. I didn't want this. I didn't want anyone to see you like that. I closed my eyes. That's exactly it, I whispered. He went quiet. For the first time since that night, I felt something sharp cut through the numbness. I felt betrayal, not because he meant to hurt me, but because, somehow, he had. Twice. It didn't happen all at once. There wasn't a dramatic moment where everything snapped and I suddenly knew what to do. It was quieter than that. Slower. Like something inside me settling into a truth I didn't want, but couldn't unsee. I asked Caleb to come over. He looked nervous when he walked in. Careful, like he was stepping into something fragile. Hey, he said softly. We sat across from each other. Not touching, not close enough to pretend things were normal. For a while, neither of us spoke. And then I realized, I wasn't angry, not anymore. I was just clear. I need to say something, I said. My voice didn't shake. That surprised me. He nodded quickly. Okay, anything. I looked at him, at the man I had loved so easily just a week ago. I know you didn't mean to hurt me. He opened his mouth to respond, but I kept going. I know you didn't know it was me. I know you love me. I believe that. He exhaled. But I saw your face, I said. That made him still, and I heard what you said. His eyes dropped. And now I know something I can't unknow. Silence filled the space between us. If we had met 3 years ago, I continued slowly, choosing every word, you wouldn't have wanted me. You wouldn't have looked at me and thought I was interesting, I said, not raising my voice. You wouldn't have come up to me at that convention. You wouldn't have asked for my number. That's not it, Caleb said. You would have looked at me, I said, softer now, and seen that. The word sat there without me saying it. We both heard it anyway. He shook his head, immediately, desperately. That's not fair. You don't know that. People grow. Nancy, I've grown. I believe you, I said. That stopped him. I believe that you've grown. I believe that you love me now. My chest tightened, just a little. But I kept going. But belief isn't the same as healing. He stared at me, like he was trying to find the version of this conversation where it didn't end the way he feared. The problem isn't what you feel now, I said. It's what I know now. I pressed my hands together in my lap to keep them steady. I still carry that girl, I said quietly. The one in that video. The one you didn't recognize. The one you reacted to without thinking. His eyes filled. She didn't disappear, I added. My voice softened. And I can't build a life with someone who would have dismissed her. He leaned forward then, urgency replacing everything else. That's not who I am, he said. That's not how I see people. I made a mistake. I said something stupid, but that's not fair. I know, I said gently. And I meant it. That's what makes this so hard. Because he wasn't cruel. I wish I could forget it, I said. I've tried. I've told myself all the right things. That you didn't know. That it wasn't about me. That it was just a moment. I shook my head, barely. But every time you touch me, I whispered, I hear it. His face broke. I don't feel safe anymore, I said. And I don't think that's something you can fix. He sat back slowly. So that's it? He asked, his voice small. After everything, this is it. I swallowed. It's not just one thing, I said. It's what that one thing showed me. I stood up, because I couldn't sit there anymore. Caleb, you're a good man. He let out a shaky laugh. That doesn't feel very helpful right now. I know, I said softly. I met his eyes one last time. But I need someone whose love doesn't depend on me becoming someone else first. The words landed between us. Because I still am her, I added. And I can't spend my life wondering if the person I love would have rejected me if they met me a little earlier. He didn't argue this time. He just nodded, once. And that was it. Just two people sitting in the space where something good used to be. Knowing it couldn't survive what had been revealed. Months later, I found the photo again. The one Sam sent. The one I almost deleted. I was cleaning my phone when it appeared. A flash of a girl I used to avoid looking at. I expected the usual reaction. The flinch. The urge to scroll past. But it didn't come. I stared at it, and for the first time, I didn't feel embarrassment. I felt something else. Recognition. She looked tired, uncertain, but she was still there. I set my phone down. Then picked it up again. This time, I didn't scroll past. I saved it. Later that day, I bought a small frame. Nothing fancy, just simple. I didn't put it on display. Not on my desk or my shelf. I put it in a drawer. Somewhere private, not hidden, just kept. A reminder that I loved me before anyone else did. Even when it was hard. Even when I didn't know how. Caleb still texts sometimes. Nothing dramatic. Just small things. How are you? I saw something that reminded me of you. I hope you're okay. I reply politely. I don't hate him, but I know something now that I didn't before. Some wounds don't make you stronger. They just make you clearer. And Caleb, through no malice, no intention, showed me something I couldn't ignore. He wasn't safe for all of me. And I promised myself, a long time ago, even if I didn't realize it then, I would never abandon any part of me again.